Make a start. So today I'm going to be talking about looking after yourself in flight. It's things people don't talk about, and everything in this talk. If there are any errors in it, just let me know. I've stolen it mostly from Jean-Claire, so you can blame him. So I'm Saz Reed. I live up in Scotland, up in Ballachulish near Glencoe. I fly at Feshy Bridge. I used to fly at Usk, and I still do because that's where my mum and dad live. And I was also the Lasham tug pilot in, I think it was 2015 season. So I've been all over the UK with the junior gliding team. And that's how I became a UK junior gliding mentor. And as Pos said in one of the talks, I'm one of the old grey ones now. And I did have a look when he said that the other day, and I'm definitely going a bit grey. So yeah, lots of carnage has happened, and I've done a few comps. And at the moment, I'm just really enjoying gliding the Monroes in the Highlands in my little mini Nimbus. So that's kind of a bit of background how I got into UK junior gliding. So the main thing is piss poor preparation equals piss poor performance. And one of those things is, this is just an edit done by Mike Gatfield, but it's quite a visual one. This is me at the Mind. Don't worry, it's not actually over an airport and I'm not flying. I'm on the ground. But it just shows you that, you know, to be prepared before you get in the glider. And a lot of these things I'm going to talk about tonight are not a visual thing. It might be more how you're feeling. It might be, you know, drinking that glass of water or how you might be feeling. So it's just something to think about. So we're going to run through some awkward things like how do you pee? Do you drink enough? What about if you go from glider pilot to jet pilot? We've got Danny Welsh in the audience who might speak a bit she might answer some questions for you later. What do you eat? So nutrition wise, sleep, alcohol, I'm not going to preach about that, exercise, week-long competition, getting high, getting stressed, so all sorts of things. And I'm just kind of sharing the knowledge, not lecturing, just trying to make people think about things that they might not be thinking about. And we at UK Junior Gliding are happy to take questions. You can email me, Facebook me afterwards, and I'll try and find the answer if I don't know it. And, you know, I don't always do these things. It's just things that, you know, me making this presentation has got me thinking about some of these things as well. So the main concern is hydration over the entire day. So drinking, you know, the night before your flight, especially if you're doing a competition or a long flight, so you feel comfortable. You don't want to feel uncomfortable. You don't want to feel hungry, bloated, nauseous, needing a big poo and having to land. You want to eat the right thing that definitely agrees with you. Definitely seen a lot of pilots land pretty quick and run to the toilet before. So if you don't drink much, you won't have to pee. That's a massive myth. Even the polar bears think so. Dehydration can be extremely dangerous. And Sean Leclerc has quoted, water loss of 4% of your body weight can lead to a decrease in performance of 40% in your gliding. So really, there's no reason not to drink. I'm going to apologise to Matt Davis now because he is a bit of a running theme throughout the presentation, mainly because he has really good photos on Facebook to show exactly what I'm trying to portray. And I'm quite a visual person, so visual things kind of stick in my brain. So why I've chosen this one, I'll use my little cursor. He's using a little Camelback, which, if you don't know, Camelback is a really good piece of kit for taking a lot of water, maybe 2 to 3 litres. And you can fit 2 of them right behind you and have the little tube coming up and over. The main thing is if you're flying in wave, it can freeze. So it might be better to use a big bottle. But the human body requires lots of water, at least 2 litres a day. Plus, if you're losing fluids due to sweating, then it's definitely good to drink lots and lots of water. And also think about if you're having a land out, if you don't land next to a river and it's a really hot day, just having a bit of extra water and having a safety margin. Basically, to be hydrated all the time, it's super important. Speaking of, I'm actually going to have some water. And these are the symptoms. So extreme thirst, swollen tongue, dizziness. And, the main thing is you don't want bad breath. You don't want to land and then maybe you fancy a crew or something. You don't want bad breath when you land. So keep hydrated, just like Charlie Jordan here. He was trying to do the Loop Loop challenge that went viral a few years ago. He's definitely hydrated there. And sorry, Matt, remember to relieve yourself before you launch. That definitely saves, getting low and being faffy. So the exciting bit, in-flight plumbing. I've definitely got a lot of experience with this and a lot of failures. I think it's always going to be a learning curve. So how can women pee in gliders? I've met a lot of pilots that don't do anything, that land back, they don't drink, because they don't have, a lot of men do this as well. They come back because they needed a wee, and I'm like, what? Just get yourself a pee system. So on the Women Glide website, there's a really nice page about in-flight plumbing, and I'm going to go through a bit of that now. Don't worry, Greg, I'll come on to men in a minute. So this one I find really awkward, but it might suit some people. It's like a little insert one with a bag. Not gonna use that one. So the next one is made by Maureen Weaver, who I see is in the chat. Al doesn't know this, but I'm at his work desk holding my little pee tube. So Maureen made me this. I think it was almost 8 years ago. And it's a Shiwi, but it's a bit more of a comfortable one. So it has a little hole there and you sit on it. And a little tip, I put a zip in my shorts, so it can just slot right in. And then when I land, I can just zip it back up. And then Ben and Benedict will remember this because they tried to reverse the polarity one year to make me, pee myself, but that didn't work. So what you do is you pee and then you have a little motor. You can find more information about this on the Women's Glide. And it basically then goes out of the cockpit window. And it does work, but it has failed a few times just because I haven't, set it up right. But it's definitely a really good bit of kit. And the motor part is, Maureen might be keen to answer some questions about this afterwards in the chat. But the motor is from a model boat. My dad helped me make it. So the other one is nappies, which I'm going to demonstrate. Not literally, I'm not going to pee, don't worry, but this is a nappy. Really awkward things. You need to not buy just the cheap nappies. You need to buy the incompetence nappies. This can work for men as well, especially if you're a bit older, because they're actually super comfy. They're not comfy when you get out of the glider, but, they can be comfy. Sorry, Greg. And definitely have a bag ready to put it in when you land. I won't go too much on about nappies because it's self-explanatory, but definitely buy the incompetence ones, so that it's a gel absorbent, because otherwise it will go everywhere. And there's detailed instructions on the Women Glide website. The other thing is, if you're really bored one night, like I was when I was researching for this, there's some really good blogs online, especially on the paragliding forum, and the women are pretty funny on here. And there's some really good comments and stories about fails and also kind of good things. I'm not putting an age on it, Steve. And what Benedict doesn't know here is my PE system completely failed. So he didn't hug me for that long. That was after I landed at juniors one time for the first time after a comp. So Danny Walsh is in the audience. I'll try and she is keen to answer questions at the end if anyone has anything. But she's a jet pilot at the moment. And I just asked her a few questions the other night, basically. And what they get is a little travel John. It's meant to be unisex for men and women, because it's better for the men because you won't get any leaks, especially with high or low G. But for the women, it's it's not as good. Apparently, the tenor pads or the nappies work well. See, it's all about the nappies. And she says it doesn't work well with the immersion suit and the G suit, so she finds that a bit better. If you have any questions about that, put it in the chat. And the other thing is, so coming on to men, Matt Davis, little theme, you'll see here that there's a little P tube. Everyone has them. That's me crowing for Charlie. I'm a bit close to that P tube. And how it works is you have a little funnel here, and I'll come on to a few of the contraptions in a moment. And then, Greg, I hope you're still not eating your dinner. And then it just goes straight out the bottom of the cockpit, and hopefully the way it is positioned won't go all along your fuselage. That's definitely also happened to quite a lot of people. And you come and land, and it's all kind of so on the BJ website, or on the BGA website, there are lots of different options for men, more for men. Some are unisex, but I think the ones on the women glide page definitely explain it a bit better. So for men, I won't go into it because I'm not a man, but I've definitely spoken to a lot of men about it, just because I'm always intrigued about how they get on. A lot of people have been through pee bags. And sorry, I'm just going to give one little marine biology rant because I'm a marine biologist. And I study microplastics. So I would really urge people to stop using the really cheap, crappy Tesco bags and move on to either the biodegradable bags, which you can buy here for $50 for a $5. You can't even not justify that. Or move on to a system that is a bit more, user friendly. Especially don't tie. I'm just going to mention it now, but just don't tie a knot in the bag. And basically just maybe move away from bags. And so the other thing is you can get a bag that's in the glider that you use a catheter to pee into. I hear that works quite well, or using a catheter to pee straight into that little tube I showed you. But definitely give UK Junior Gliding an email, and we can definitely try and advise you on, how some people do it. 'Cause it is really important. It's really awkward. You might wet yourself. It's better than not drinking. Not drinking. This is one that did mess up, and I think Matt and Charlie had to land. Matt and Paul, sorry. Yeah, so that's quite funny. Definitely ruins your wing ratio. Did you know also there was a catheter measuring tool, I mean. I'm not going to get into this, but if you want to get your size right, they are out there. And I don't know why this is on the internet or why I found it, but I was intrigued what a catheter was. I remember when I was with Luke Dale and Benedict one day. So Luke Dale gave me a clean one, and I got it stuck on my finger. So I don't know how you guys cope with that. There must be a method. Ask one of the guys out there, because I'm not sure how these are used, but it really, yeah. I'm not going to help you measure either. So moving swiftly on to nutrition and painful to get off. See, I don't know, maybe use Vaseline beforehand. Every sport is known for their nutritional and hydration requirements. And gliding is a sport, and even though you're not exercising, you're definitely using, you're sweating, you're getting all riled up, trying to cross country fast. So you're definitely using up all of that energy. So maybe don't do what juniors and us are doing here, having lots of beer and curry, but that's winter series, so we're not doing as much flying. So best food to eat, be like Philippa. Take your favorite food, pack it everywhere so it's really accessible. Because if it's more accessible and it's food you actually like, you'll eat it more. Whereas if you're trying to be healthy and you've brought nuts and you don't fancy nuts, you're not going to eat the nuts. So take your favorite chocolate bar if that means you're going to eat. For breakfast, lots of people, especially Jean-Claire, recommend porridge, toast. Eggs are always a winner. I don't think Al goes anywhere without his eggs. Yogurt, orange juice, and also a pre-flight banana. And somehow I found a photo of me eating a banana on the grid. So, I do practice what I preach. Also, exercise on an airfield. So cycling has really kicked off amongst the gliding world. I've been checking out everyone's Stravas. And it's really nice that, people are taking their bikes, they're going running. There's lots of ways to get exercise on an airfield. But cycling is definitely a great one, especially because airfields are mostly flat. So yeah, and if you get into a routine, do it before or on the evening, it's nice and sociable. It just definitely activates your brain again. And having a cold swim as well, I really recommend. So how to manage a long week or more of flying. Philippa and Lucy and I were discussing this the other night, and I think it's a really, really valid point. And the main way to do it is to have good crew, I think. I've had some fantastic crew who you can see there, Ben, Benedict, my dad, Lucy. And yeah, you definitely need to have a great crew so they take that stress out of all the organization, maybe giving you food in the morning, helping you prep the glider, coming on to checklists, helping you with the checklists, making sure you're all ready to go, you're hydrated, you've got your sunglasses. And it's managing that long week and then fitting in the exercise, remembering to shower, stay hydrated so you don't get that bad breath, all of these things. And I definitely think having a good crew helps you manage that. Thanks, guys. Definitely still owe you beers for all the landouts. A lot of this research was actually mostly from this book, which you can buy on the BJ website, Dancing with the Wind from John Marie Clement. Here, chapter 11 is health, altitude, and long flights. So I haven't covered everything, but in his chapter, he goes into quite a lot of detail, especially about dental hygiene, flying with a cold. Just don't do it. Just give yourself a day off, go for a walk instead. Diving, if anyone does dive and go gliding, I'm definitely happy to answer any questions on this, because I dive quite a lot for work and after work sometimes, and you have to work out the dive tables and if you go into altitude afterwards, but definitely don't do a dive and then go flying. Definitely leave it at least 24 hours and check your tables. If you're going up high on altitude, electrical heating has really kicked off as well. Try not to get gassy, try not to eat too many beans. Caffeine, drink caffeine if you're used to it, but don't drink loads and loads of caffeine before a flight. Alcohol, still not going to preach on that, but try to limit your alcohol. Sleep, 8 hours is recommended. Sleep, it's always good to get lots of sleep. And one thing I did learn through doing this PowerPoint was the 2 o'clock dip, which that chapter explains really well, just to be prepared to maybe eat lots over lunch before this 2 o'clock dip. And the other thing is decompression illness. So not from diving, but actually going from 23,000 feet and above. So that's only if you're in Scotland, not, with Chris Gill in Wales. And that's where you want to pump lots of oxygen in your system way beforehand. So nutrition, again, like any other sport, it's recommended to eat the right thing. So they say, Jean was saying a 4-2-1, so 4 carbs, 2 protein, 1 lipid, which is quite a nice way to do it. And avoid things like cabbage, corn, pulses. They're going to cause you to fart. And it is really annoying if you're in a 2-seater and the other one's just, farting away. Miles. And snacks, fruit, sandwiches, basically anything you enjoy eating, like I said before, because otherwise you're not going to eat. How to look cool and stay cool. I said there was a Matt Davis theme. Not saying he is cool, but this picture was perfect to basically show on a hot day how to keep cool. So he's got, the proper UK Junior gliding hat, and it hasn't got a cap, so you're not going to reduce visibility for sight of other gliders. He's got a sheepskin which absorbs all his sweat, and he's got really good sunglasses to block out the UV, and he's wearing shorts. So what about if you get stressed? So, people don't think about this. They might not even think that they're feeling stressed, but they know they're feeling something. So if you're hyperventilating, or you're getting feeling really weird because you're in a really rough thermal, or you're getting a bit low, you're about to do a field landing, then before you do this, as you're getting maybe set up, try and relax, breathe, try and think of the 10-second rule. So 10 seconds in, 10 seconds out, and see how that works for you. And basically just try and find something. I normally end up fiddling with something. I've landed in a lot of fields, and I normally just try and, keep looking around, breathing, and fiddling. So getting high again, it's do a magic trick. Thanks, Steve. So this is from Chris Gill and Denby. Getting high, the altitude type of high. So the CAA requires all pilots use supplementary oxygen above 10,000 feet. And it's now been recommended to start if you're definitely going to go that high, to start actually taking oxygen around 6 or even 8,000 feet, just to kind of get your oxygen up a bit more to supplement. Because gliding is physical, and especially when it's got heat, mental, environmental, and competitive stress, then that accelerates all of the fatigue, the tiredness, and increases these symptoms of using more oxygen. And that can damage the brain and all sorts. So definitely remember to take your oxygen. And it's not just in Denbigh that we all hear about. There is lots of wave in Scotland, which is great, and you can all come and visit when COVID's over. And if you haven't already, it's really good to come up with a plan for your flight. So lots of, the junior team use checklists. I still have my checklist from Will Ellis. He made it for me in the 2014 or 15 juniors, and I laminated it and kept it, and I still use it. And it's a really good way for just, double checking you've taken your tail dolly off, double checking you got your P system, your keys aren't in the car, things like that. And that all reduces your stress, and and then you can concentrate on drinking water, making sure your P system's sorted, that you've got your favorite food, that you're totally ready to go flying. And this is day to day as well. I use it every time I go flying. And you can also have one for maybe just general weekend flying, comp flying, however it works really. And remember to connect your oxygen system if you are planning on going to wave, and checking your system's all working, and get some sun protection, UV sunglasses, good sun cream, and a hat. So basically it needs to work for you, and we're totally happy to offer any advice if we can. And sorry if any of this has been inaccurate. Or you can give me an email or a Facebook. So that is mostly all I was going to talk about. So on Sunday the 6th, so this Sunday is the last of our eWinter series for this round, and it's the big UK Junior Gliding quiz run by Lucy, Emily, and Ben. So any questions, you can put them in the chat. There's me, Lucy, and Danny, and anyone else that wants to jump in to answer questions. And I think I can undo your mic. Yeah. Thanks for listening. And I think this will be online for anyone that missed it or, wants to watch it again. So we have, how do I show this? So how to avoid sink while peeing in a pee bag, biodegradable. So one thing to do is, if you get up high, so what I normally do is I work really, really hard to get up to cloud base. And then when I'm at cloud base, I try and pick an area of lift that I can bounce along whilst I'm setting up and peeing and keeping a good lookout. And yeah, the awkward thing is, if you do get low and you really need a wee, then you either hold on and wait until you get high again, or just try and if your system is good enough, you should be able to thermal and pee. It's definitely harder for women because of the position, but a pee bag is awkward, and that's why most people go for either the catheter or the Shiwi version. But one of the men might be able to explain better how to pee into a pee bag. So Bruce says, practice in the bath in the appropriate sitting position. Yeah, that's a good point. Lots of people do that. And yeah, actually, I did practice with that shiwi in the bath, and it was a disaster the first time, but that's okay. And yeah, it does take some concentration. Yes, it definitely does, and definitely keep a good lookout. And try and pick an area where there is, kind of, pick an area where there is lift in ahead of you. I'll try while thermaling. Yeah, give it a go. Let us know how you get on. How leak-proof are the shiwis? So I've wet myself a lot, not just in general in the glider. And yeah, if you get the fit right, so basically what happens is, because it's a motor, if you get it in the right position, it kind of suctions on and makes a really good seal. So yeah, I do actually recommend practicing in the bath beforehand, because you can connect it to a battery. It just has one of these. Mine just has one of these, so you can just connect it to a normal battery and practice. And then it has an on and an off switch. So you can pee a little bit, hold it, because I think it's easier for women to pee a little bit, hold it, and then pee a bit more. So we can kind of multitask because we're women, and try and do that. So Steve says, off the top of the climb, not approaching a turn point. Yeah, that's a good. That's definitely a good tip. You don't want to overfly the turn point or then start going. Start down. Jake is typing. Do you think learning to pee should be in the glider syllabus, the BGA syllabus? Yes, I definitely think it should be. I've actually been thinking about this when I was reading the S&G magazine. I might put a little article in about it, especially the biodegradable pee bags. So I wrote a little thing about plastic. So does the whole world, though, so that's fine. But yeah, I actually think there should be part in the syllabus about taking care of yourself, because so many of even I can't remember getting instructed because it was years ago, but I don't ever remember even having a conversation about it until I got into comp flying. But then some of your normal flights in a glider just around the gliding club can be 2 hours. So you kind of need that P system. So, I think it should be in the BJ syllabus, and I do think people should be talking about it. And I would totally be keen to help with that if I can. What do you bring to mop up spills? So yeah, it depends who you share a glider with. At the time, it was only my dad, so it was kind of easier, but still, he hated me for it. But so what I used to do was, when I was practicing, I actually used to put down a bin bag underneath me. And then I would take the whole cushion home with me and put it through the tumble dryer, through the washing machine. I've done that a lot of times. And I have like a little sheepskin over my cushion, so I used to have to take that home as well. And then I give it a proper scrub. But the great thing is, because it's kind of, the seat is like that, it catches it all, which is good. But it doesn't matter if you pee yourself. Just clean it up. Especially while you're practicing. It definitely does take practice. Sitting on a towel, says Danny. Definitely agree. Emily, the people that make the nappies make absorbable pads to sit on too. I think that's what Danny, is that what you use as well? Emily, where do you get those absorbable pads from? Do you know? Walter, I actually use the inside of diapers. Looks like cotton wool to put inside my pee bag. This then turns into a gel and prevents spillage. Only downside is that you will have to stow it behind your seat until after the landing. Oh, see, that's super interesting, and I'm really glad. That you've explained that, because that's really interesting. And definitely get the ones that turn into gel, because Maureen taught me that trick, I think, because otherwise they won't hold it. And Emily says the same place as the nappies. Yeah, the incompetence section. I'll try and find where that is. I've forgotten the link, because that Yeah, you definitely need to buy the right sort of nappies, or as Danny says, the tenner ones. But yeah, well, I feel like this is a great topic of conversation because I know lots of people that do land back to go for a wee, just because they haven't got a system set up. Attends, that's the website to get their nappies or the pads. That's really useful. Yeah, and I think maybe so we have UK Junior gliding mentors, but it might be good to have, someone at each club that maybe you feel you can talk to about it. I'm totally happy for anyone to talk to me about it, because I don't mind being awkward. But yeah, it might be good just to have someone that you can, talk to about getting a system sorted, especially if you're new to gliding. Thanks, Andrew. John Adams is typing. Yeah, if anyone else is too scared to type, just give it a go and we'll try and answer, or message us afterwards. Oh yeah, so I've even got it on my slide. So it is the attends one. I think the link for it is on. I think it is on the website that I was just talking about. The Women Glide. And Keith says, when taking biodegradable bags, don't try and save space by just taking a few. Take the whole roll. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. You can definitely pay a lot, especially in 5 hours if you're doing a comp. Better yet, get a dog and then you can carry hundreds of bags around anyway. Yeah, that's true. I don't know if they'd be robust enough, would they, though? They're quite thin. Oh, okay. They are. But yeah. Well, I hope everyone has found that useful. I actually found it useful writing it out onto a PowerPoint, actually. So yeah, if anyone has any questions, I'll hang on for a bit longer, put it in the chat, or yeah, give me a message. Thanks for listening. Hope I didn't ruin your dinner, Greg. Thanks, everyone. Bye, Mum. Yeah, please, Bruce, share it. Sorry if I'm awkward or a bit not PG. Maybe tell them beforehand. Yeah, definitely agree, John. I think we should start talking about it more. Oh, thanks, Bruce.